to our special guest for tonight's podcast, which is, of course, the return of the Mouldy Old Quiz. A very different type of guest tonight, so I'm going to pass you over to James now to introduce him.
So, hopefully our technical side has returned to a bit of form and be able to hear. Can you hear me, Adam?
Yes, I'm here, guys. How you going?
Hello, Mr. Maxwell. Have you recovered after a very busy weekend? How are you feeling?
Yeah, recovered pretty well. Pretty successful weekend, to be fair. Speed weekend's always one of the best weekends of the year, so we had a good weekend, definitely.
I should explain to our listeners that the reason we've invited Adam Maxwell on is because we were thinking, coming out of Speed Weekend, going into to pick a driver that did very well at Speed Weekend and has made himself, and is also a name in the banger scene. Adam jumped to mind, and the group here at Cage, we were very happy to have him on. So we've got a few questions for you here, Adam. So I was going to give you a quick interview, and then we'll put you in the quiz. I know you're a bit nervous about the quiz, but don't be. I'm sure you'll be fine.
I'm not going to be that good at the quiz, but we'll see.
So it's a season where qualification didn't go as well as it could. Unfortunately, I don't get to see as much of your points qualification as I do of the English one. You ended up down the points table. I'm sure there's reason for that. But you must have been happy to come through the wild card and get yourself onto the grid for the final.
Oh yeah, of course. Really, this year we've sort of took a bit of a back seat. Obviously, the year we were world champions we've done a lot of meetings, and it was a very intense year. A lot of work, like any stock car, any guy that races a stock car or hot rod or any sort of oval racing knows, if you want to be at the top, you have to put the hours in, no matter what it is, bangers, hot rods, anything, it's a full-time job really. So we sort of came off the back of that year and sort of said we're going to take a bit of a back step. So I only got 2 meetings done in this calendar year and 3 done at the end of last year. So, we hadn't really done a whole pile of meetings. Obviously, that's why we didn't qualify. So, I knew full well that we weren't going to qualify because at home it's very, you need to be doing all the rounds. You don't do if you miss even 1 or 2 rounds, you're not going to qualify. So that's sort of the reason why we didn't get up there to do the hot laps and stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in a group that is it's got such fierce competition for those qualification places. I mean, that's always the thing with over racing. Sometimes life comes first, and then if the competition being so fierce will make it more difficult to get through. But you must have had a great view, well, as the action unfolded throughout the race, especially given the hectic start and the subsequent restart. So what was your view from the back of the grid? What was it like being on that world final grid? And then, of course, yes, go on, sorry, again.
To be fair, going into the speed again, like I was generally this year I've just wanted to go out and enjoy myself. Obviously that's why I'm doing a bit of banger racing as well. Any time I've went out, I've just been picking meetings. And going into Speedway again, I wasn't overly confident. I haven't been doing a whole pile of racing, so obviously I was thinking that I was going to be a wee bit rusty. I don't think the car was going to be good. So obviously when we got there and got a run round in the first race, I knew the car was going to be pretty good. And just I had to just keep working at the car all weekend and just finally tune it. So got in obviously on the Saturday night. The car felt really good. We were able to put a couple of new tyres on for the World Final. So we got World Final for us was pretty good. We actually came home 10th. I think it says in the results we came 11th, but my transponder wasn't working, so I think they dumped me down to 11th. So it's a tough one, really. When you start off the back, the leaders are around on you that quick. Obviously, there's 35 cars on the track. No matter how good you get through, the leader's always going to get a better run through than you. So you're just constantly looking in the mirror waiting for him to come. So when he did come, Glenn obviously was leading the race at the start. And when he did come, I sort of said, right, I'm moving straight out of the road here and just give him a clear run through. So obviously when I moved out and let him through, I was able to follow him through for maybe 10, 15 laps, which helped my race too. I was able to sort of stay on pace with him, which was considering the amount of work I'd done to the car, and obviously didn't spend as much money this year as I have in previous years. I was pretty happy with. So yeah,
and you must have been happy with the reverse grid and then going to win the Betfred Trophy afterwards.
Oh yeah, well obviously when I think I'd done that in 2013 as well. Like that's always in my head. I want to go out and win the race after because you're pulled for it. So I was concentrating a lot on trying to win that because it's speed weekend for the hot rods or for any sort of class. Like if you get a win and a pole at it, like it's a great feeling. So for me to get three wins this year, again,
something you can point to and say, something you can point to and say this is what I got for my season, because that must be nice. And the last question for me is how adjusting between banger racing and hot rod racing, going from probably some of the most expensive cars we see on the oval to some of the cheapest and most disposable. Does it ever cross your mind about how to adjust your style for each meeting, or do you ever, I suppose, do you ever find yourself behind another car and think, oh, with these bangers, I could give him a little nudge?
No, I do have a wee bit of contact background. Like I used to race F2s for 3 years before I went into hot rods. So like I've tasted the concrete, as I say. So no, they obviously completely different formulas. The main thing for me, obviously, I haven't really been interested in bangers. The reason I am is went to South Africa in 2016 or 17, and obviously met up with some of the banger guys. So obviously we've been friendly with them ever since, and we've went over and watched a few banger meetings. So I always sort of said, me and my friends were always sort of saying, flip me, imagine being strapped into one of them, because the buzz, obviously, the two completely different. But obviously the hot rod's like a speed buzz, and obviously when you get into a national banger, like you're fearing for your life sort of thing, So you're not going to get a buzz like it really. So that's basically I wanted to try and chase the buzz as such, like, and both formulas are the same, similar but different as such. There's a lot of different techniques to the bangers, with pulling the cars and making the cars strong in certain places, and then obviously with the hot rod, there's a lot to do with setup. So, there is some sort of similarities. There's still a lot of work to be done in the bangers, like.
So just one very, very quick one before we open the floor to the other guys. If you could, is there one driver off the top of your head that you from the national banger scene that you think would be a challenger in a hot rod?
There'll be several. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a lot of top men in there. Obviously, Jack Overy would be up there too. Like he's a bit of a legend. Boxer Jack, obviously, who's done a bit of hot rod racing in South Africa. Saying maybe Pikey, there's obviously is going to be a lot of contenders that that could do it. Like. So,
okay, so
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so before we go into the quiz, open the floor to the other guys. Has anyone got any questions for Adam?
Yeah, Adam, I have a couple for you. Obviously, you won Heat 2 in the National Hot Rod Support Cars Saturday night, but I believe you were disqualified post-race. Can you tell us what that was about, or what the issue was?
Basically, after the race, usually the top three get scrutineered. So I didn't actually go to scrutineering. So we came up, it was a wee bit, because obviously it's the sport classes and, there's a lot of other stuff going on. We pulled up, but in the driver's briefing, they didn't say that we needed to go to scrutineering after the race. And because it's not in the rules, I was able to protest it, So I managed to slip through with the skin of my teeth for that one. So I'm grateful for that.
Okay, brilliant. And just one more question. Obviously, we saw the introduction of the new Hoosier H12 tyre for the Speed Weekend this year. Could you see that there was much of a difference with the racing compared to the old tyre and the new one?
Yeah, there was definitely a gripper increase, like maybe a tenth and a half, 2/10. I didn't really. Everybody thought it was going to go off and all too. It was going to heat up a lot more, but I didn't really feel it was that much. It was that much worse. Like there was a couple of people went on 2 and 2. 2 of the hard tires on the outside, but I think the only way they were going to be quick that weekend was to put the soft tires on and go sort of thing.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, Adam. I'm going to ask you a banger question instead of a hot rod question. You've raced in micros, you've raced in 2 litre Mondeos, you've raced in Unlimiteds. Which was your favourite so far?
Oh, the Unlimited was definitely the best experience. Back wheel drive. It was quick. It was a frog actually it was out in, so I would definitely say Unlimited. But it doesn't matter what class you go out in, like you still get the same buzz. Just enjoy driving the Unlimited a wee bit more because obviously I've got a lot more back wheel drive experience. So I hadn't raced the front wheel drive since I was in sort of juniors sort of thing. Like so, no, definitely the Unlimiteds are definitely the way to go.
And would you think that, say, a well-sorted Scorpio would be as fast on the straight as a National Hot Rod, or is it still a little bit of speed difference?
I think it's more to do with weight. There's a lot of guys with built engines in the bangers like that, which the engines would be real good engines, but I think it's more to do with weight. They're probably over a ton. So with the hot rod being about 700 kilos, I think. The hot rod obviously would be quicker that way.
Fair play. Well, we'll hope to see you out and again the bangers because I've said it to you several times in the flesh. You've been very impressive, and all the better. That's what people want to see. They want to see a show being put on. Ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, Andy or Matt?
I think you've answered all
really.
the questions that I wanted to know. Yeah.
I think we've put him under a bit of a grilling there.
I thought I was going to skip the quiz there.
Oh, we're going to move on to the quiz now.
Still got that.
Thought I was going to get that.
Yeah, we're not going to ask you questions only you know. That would be a bit of an easy quiz. So the way the quiz works is you get 90 seconds to answer as many as you can out of the 10 questions we've got here. What will happen is I will ask Matt Josie, our host, to take us on the rolling lap. You won't be able to hear it on the phone, but the listeners at home will hear the rolling lap music, Mouldy Old Day. As soon as Matt says green, 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 Andy Watts, you on the stopwatch?
Yeah, I'm ready.
As soon as Matt says green, 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 Andy will start the stopwatch, and you have 90 seconds. You get one lifeline, and that lifeline is saying the words thumbs down, thumbs down. If you put your thumbs down, stop the stopwatch, and I will give you a clue. When I give you that clue, you get one guess of that clue, and then we restart the stopwatch. You only get one lifeline. You have to wait for me to finish asking the question. So if you jump in and try and answer it before I finish asking the question, I'll just continue reading it out until we get to the end of that question. And then, we'll see how many you can get right out of the 10 questions we've got here. Now, we have got... So we spoke about it before the show, as we'll do with drivers who are predominantly from other formulas coming on. You have 3 home questions, if you like. You've got 3 questions that are more suited to a hot rod driver than a banger driver, but the rest are either general oval racing questions or banger racing questions, and we've tried to keep them, put in a few topical questions as well as we always do. Are you clear on the rules, mate?
I think so.
You think so?
Green means go, I know.
That's more confident than most people are. So, Josie, can you take us on the rolling lap?
Yes, I'm going to take on the rolling lap just now. And we are green, green, green.
Which driver has recently changed his number in honour because he shared the previous one with Kingy?
Ooh.
You can pass and you can come back to it. Pass?
Pass.
Which track this week became under threat due to a proposal to reuse the land?
Whew, I don't even know that. I haven't even been on Facebook.
What odds did Billy Wood have before winning the National Hot Rod World Final this week? What were his odds?
8-1.
Correct. What 6-letter word was often written down the side of Kingy's front wing on his car?
Oh man, gonna get snapped off for this one.
You can say thumbs down. Okay. What does a white flag with a blue spot signify?
Oil on the track.
Correct. What year was the first Shamrock?
Ooh, 1981.
Correct. Who is the only driver from Northern Ireland to have won the Shamrock title?
Oh dear.
Just pass if you don't know.
Kieran MacGyver.
Correct. In 2006, Carl Boardley was famously clashed with which other driver on their final lap to win the title?
Andy Stewart.
Correct. Which team with half an oil drum raced instead of a roof fin on their roof? In Bangors.
Team Buckle.
Correct. Which Northern Irish driver won the National Hot Rod Championship? Which Northern Irish driver?
Red flag. Red flag.
I feel a bit mean there because I probably should have did that last question a little bit better.
What is the score?
Well,
I was happy with that, to be fair. I didn't say it.
Yeah, that was
I
really
thought it
good,
was good.
Adam.
Yeah, did well, Adam. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
the final score is 5.
Got 5. It's not
Yeah,
too bad.
not
It's not
bad.
bad.
Yeah,
Not
that's
bad.
very respectful, Adam.
Made
So-
good. I'll take it.
So the questions you either passed on or got wrong. Which driver changed his number in honour because he shared his previous one with Kingy? Any one of the presenters want to jump in?
That's
Phil Mina
Milner.
from the Gladiators.
Phil Mina, yeah.
Yeah, Turkish Phil Milner changed it to 201. We mentioned earlier, which track became under threat this week? due to the
Bellevue.
proposed reuse plan? Correct. Which six-letter word was often written down the side of Kingy's front wing?
Ramrod.
Ramrod. Ed, you
Six
should know.
letters.
Which year was the first Shamrock?
1997. I was
Correct.
there.
And
I
do you know-
remember actually talking about this not too long ago, but I couldn't remember at all.
This is why you read the Shamrock program, because I write all these things in it.
and do you know who won it, Ed?
Say that again, sorry.
And do you know who won it in '97?
Larry O'Neill, 335.
Correct. Excellent. And the
Say
last one.
if I hadn't put that in for
Knowledge.
mine, nobody would know.
And the last question, which unfortunately I don't get to finish reading out, was which Northern Irish driver won the National Hot Rod British Championship last year? I have a feeling you would have got this one as well. Yeah, that would have been right. I would have put you on 6.
I really got 6 seeing you stuttered.
Yeah, this stuff.
Yeah, give him the 6. Give him the 6.
You're
Yeah, I
sacked.
say, should we give him a 6? Because that was your fault, James.
Well, it's up to you guys.
Yeah,
No, we
we'll
get
give
it.
him 6.
I'll give
We'll
it.
get
I'll give it. I'll give it.
Go on, we'll give him the 6 then.
He
Yeah.
knows too much. He still knows too much for a hot rod style. That's the only problem.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. 6 does still leave you last, but that's only because the previous 4 people all scored 7.
Still not a bad
previous-
effort.
yeah.
It's good effort.
Still not a bad effort.
That's
Still
still
not a bad
good.
effort.
I'll take it.
No, I think that's a good effort. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Adam. Thanks for coming on. I hope you enjoyed it.
No problem, guys. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. That's great.